What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Ryan Kostrowski here representing the DFS 5-pack. So as you can see, wearing my Packer gear today as we got some NFL playoffs rolling a little bit later. When I'm done with this video, I'm going to go gnaw on a block of cheese, drink a Miller Lite, and listen to the new Lil Wayne Packers hype song. No, I'm kidding. I won't be drinking Miller Lite till later. Nah, I don't drink Miller Lite, period. I'm just trying to poke fun at us Wisconsinites a little bit as we're all getting prepped for the Packer game today. But we are here now to talk about the NBA DFS slate. We're going to roll solo on NBA today, giving Professor Bellman a day off to just take a day away from NBA, which I think is great for everybody to do once in a while. I know I didn't play last night, so every once in a while, I think it's a great time to just take the day off from DFS, enjoy sports, just enjoy your real life maybe a little bit, and just kind of recharge the batteries because the NBA DFS season is a long one. Let's get into today, though. I kind of like the slate so far. It's only 4 games, but I like some of the plays on it quite a bit. And depending on what happens with Miami, there could be a ton of really, really good plays on this slate. And I think there's some good cash game plays and good GPP pivots. So it's one that I'm excited to play tonight, even if I am going to be waist deep in a little NFL playoffs come this afternoon. So as far as the 5-pack promotions for the day, and I mentioned this one yesterday, buy the day passes today. I forgot to change this one. It was up on the NFL one. And you get both NFL and NBA. And if you do buy the NBA package today, yes, I'll give you the NFL picks for free for the rest of the playoffs as well. So we'll just do both of those today. And we did come up a little short yesterday on the 200 likes. If we can even get close today, because I think we were like 28 short yesterday, 29 short. If we can get in that kind of that same realm, like say 175 likes, then we'll give away the NBA package on Monday to somebody. And then we'll just kind of do like a comment contest to give away a free NBA package for absolutely no cost. So pound that like button. You guys have been helping us out a ton this year. We'll continue to give a lot of free information as long as you guys are good to us like you have been, which we sincerely appreciate it. Again, guys, you get 2 sports today on a day pass. They are up. Subscribe to the station if you're new to it. We've been rolling with the new format this year, but today, these are all my picks. I did go cash, GPP, guy I like in all formats, and then a couple of long shots. So let's start with the cash game lock. Quite honestly, guys, though, when it comes to today's cover boys, Shake Milton, cash, GPP, tiers, FanDuel, Yahoo, Drafters, Thrive Fantasy app, I don't care, man. I'm playing Shake Milton. I expect him to shake and boogie on some dudes today. There is no Joel Embiid tonight. Obviously, no Curry still. Paper Company's not playing tonight. They're a little bit shorthanded in Philly once again. We have watched throughout the month of January, this kid Milton, he can play, man. He's got some game to him. He can shoot it. He can boogie on people. He's a good player. I like him tonight against a Memphis team that I'm definitely not scared of. Missing some of their better players still in Joel Embiid. Obviously, the Curry 2.0 and Seth Curry isn't there again tonight. So I think Milton has himself a game. I expect 30 points here with upside for a little bit more. Coming off of a great game, but he's really just been very good all month. And this is about as good of a spot as you can find Shake Milton in. We know Ben Simmons and Dwight Howard and Tobias Harris. They still got some players there, but give me Shake Milton is my favorite play from the Philadelphia 76ers today. And it's probably going to be a wise idea to have a couple of guys from the Philadelphia 76ers today as they take on Memphis. Next up, I want to move over to Jeremy Grant of the Detroit Pistons as a GPP guy I like today. So I want to make sure I address this first bullet point because for everybody watching this, when we bring guys up, sometimes they are going to have a few caveats. In no circumstance do I think Grant's a terrible play, but I like him more and more depending on who's in and who's out for Miami tonight, specifically Bam Adebayo, who is a tremendous defensive center, patrols the paint, makes life harder on everybody for the Detroit Pistons. Yeah, he's not going to be matched up in a situation with Jeremy Grant one-on-one, but it really does inspire the culture of the team for the night. Bam is a leader of that team, not just Jimmy Butler. Both of them are leaders, and he brings a wonderful defensive presence to that team that if he's not in tonight, just makes me like Jeremy Grant even more. So I got to say, guys, I thought ESPN was crazy for projecting Jeremy Grant so high in all the year-long fantasy drafts this year. I am eating a giant crow sandwich on this one. Grant has been nothing sort of tremendous. I did not think he'd be a 25-point-per-game player. He's been wonderful. He's shooting the 3 ball at a high rate. He's getting 6 boards per game, a couple assists per game, steals, blocks, averaging 40 DK points. Honestly, at this point, he's kind of inexpensive at 7,400, which is something I never thought I'd say about Jeremy Grant. But on a terrible Pistons team that won't win a lot of games, he's their best player. He's clearly better than Blake Griffin at this point of their career. Maybe if you want to say Derrick Rose is still a little better, but can't play big minutes. Grant has been the guy stuffing the stat sheet all season long. I've been very impressed by Jeremy Grant. And if you tell me I get a real shorthanded Miami Heat team tonight, I like Jeremy Grant. I think he gets overlooked a little bit today. I think you're going to get attention paid to the last game a little bit. I think obviously Miami guys are going to be wildly in play. I think you're going to get some attention paid to clearly some of the Philadelphia 76ers this evening. Jeremy Grant has been fantastic this year. Miami's been moving at a faster pace, especially without Jimmy Butler around, who is not in tonight. So the less guys that play for Miami, the better. I think Grant's in play no matter what. But like if you tell me Bam's not playing tonight, I like him even more. So check out Jeremy Grant, who really deserves to be closer to 8,500 in my opinion. So I think he's actually kind of cheap at 7,400, which is literally never a sentence I thought I would have muttered in a million years. All right, next up. So the last game is just oozing with potential to be a high-scoring, just run and gun fun game. We got a team in the Portland Trail Blazers who are now without Jusuf Nurkic, who controls the paint, which makes them even weaker of a defensive team. They're already a trash backcourt defensive team with CJ and Dame being much better offensive players than defensive players. Now they're going to lack any ability to stop the Atlanta Hawks in the paint with Enes Kanter and Harry Giles now being the guys in the middle. I think this game has got a lot of potential, and it's one of the reasons I like a guy I've played a ton this year who's been very, very impressive to me, which is CJ McCollum, the two-guard/combo one-guard of the Portland Trail Blazers, who, guys, as hard as it is to think about, he's still outscoring Damian Lillard this year. He's $1,000 less than Lillard, and he's been outplaying him for a good portion of the season. Again, I don't think he's better than Damian Lillard, but he has really closed that gap this year so far about how these guys are. He's been playing fantastic this season. His jump shot is smooth as butter. I've loved everything I have been watching the Portland Trail Blazers play. Now we know their defense is even weaker. They got one less guy that's going to take over a game. I like Enes Kanter, but Nurkic is a little bit more of a guy that you drop it down to on the block, whereas Kanter does just a lot of the dirty work to get his points. So I like McCollum a lot tonight. This game has got the opportunity to blow up. You got Atlanta coming off of a bad game last night. So yeah, they did play last night, but they didn't play their good players in the fourth quarter. They got rolled on by the Utah Jazz in the second half last night. So I think this is a good kind of get-up spot for Atlanta to at least try to hang with the Portland Trail Blazers all night. You give me 4 quarters of McCollum in this game, I think he's got 50-point potential tonight. I like him in literally any format you can play him in. All right, let's move over to the long shots of the day. I'm going to hit up the Philadelphia 76ers for my long shot of the day at the center position. So without Joel Embiid around tonight, who's out for 2 games, you're going to look at the backup centers. Now, Memphis also has got Jonas, and they got other big players, so it's going to be very difficult for Philadelphia to try to go small tonight. So I do think that they're going to need their centers in this game. I got to assume Dwight Howard, D12, is the starter, which would also make you assume that Dwight Howard is going to get more love. You know, he's more expensive, but he's not super expensive. You also don't have Giannis and Luka and Harden and Westbrook and LeBron even in this slate. So you're going to have plenty of ways to spend your money. Even the most expensive player in the slate would be Embiid. He ain't even playing tonight. So you're going to be able to spend up on a guy like Howard and not need 3K guys like Tony Bradley. Now, let me take a sip of my coffee and I'll tell you why I like the pivot. I'll say Tony Bradley might be one of my favorite GPP pivots of the year so far. So he's not a great NBA player. Obviously, the reason he's only played 57 minutes all year is because he's not a great NBA player, and he's the third-string center for a very good Philadelphia 76ers team. However, when he does get court time, he's got 80 DraftKings points in 57 minutes this year, which comes out to, essentially we're looking at like 1.36 maybe points per minute. And I know it's a small sample size, and that's not bound to keep up, but like if you were just to project that out over 20 minutes, it's a good play, right, at 3K. However, like what happens if Dwight Howard picks up quick foul trouble? So Howard's in a position as the backup center this year that he's allowed to be very, very aggressive when he comes in. So he tacks up fouls really, really quickly. Now, oftentimes when guys like that enter the starting lineup, they're more conscious of that, and they do a better job of not picking up foul trouble. Whereas like a guy like Mason Plumlee for years on the Denver Nuggets, he knew he was only out there for 15 minutes a game because Jokic was running the show. So like he could just be super, super aggressive. So Will Dwight Howard be able to flip the script tonight, be more cautious with his fouls, and not do that? I mean, probably, but that's not a guarantee. Like D12, Dwight Howard is very capable of coming in tonight, 3 minutes, have 2 fouls, he's out of the game, and Tony Bradley's in. Like if you saw 25 minutes of Tony Bradley tonight, like dude's got every opportunity to go for 40 DK points off of a 3K salary at lower ownership than he should be because you can only play 2 centers on any given slate. So not a guarantee. The other thing you got in your back pocket is the blowout, right? We see blowouts all over the place this year, right? Left and right. Teams that should be not getting blown out, getting blown out. Teams that shouldn't even be in games are blowing out better teams, like just all over the place. It is the NBA that we live in because of COVID, one, but also just because three-point shooting is now like literally like darn near half the shots teams are taking, so it's going to be a lot streakier, and that's where a lot of the big point discrepancy comes from. We get a big discrepancy in this game, another opportunity for Tony Bradley to play 20, maybe even 25 minutes. So, I mean, this could be a crush spot for a variety of ways, and even if neither of those things happen, which is completely plausible, he still probably plays 15 minutes and gets 20 points. So I think he's a good play top to bottom with the potential to be a great smash play. One of the better 3K plays of the year, potentially, but at lower ownership than he should be because you can only play 2 centers. All right, next up, long shot of the day, Johnny Collins of the Atlanta Hawks. So hear me out on this one. He's not a long shot to play. Like Tony Bradley, despite all the raving I did about him, I mean, it's possible he was a DNP tonight, right? Like that's potentially possible. That's not the issue with Johnny Collins, who should be in the starting lineup tonight for the Atlanta Hawks. This goes back to what I talked about, though, with Joseph Nurkic gone. So from a one-on-one matchup, John Collins still not in a great spot. Derrick Jones Jr. and Rocco can play defense. It's really the only good defensive players they got left on this team, but they'll go up against a Johnny Collins. And from just a one-on-one defensive perspective, not a great spot for him. But that's not always the way the modern NBA works. You got weak defense on both guard positions for Portland. You got a weak defense in the post now. So from a team defensive perspective, they're going to be struggling a little bit. You run your switches, you get them on other guys. Collins has not been great this year. He's really only shown any version of GPP upside, I think, 3 times in only one really, really good game. I think that's why you get him at a song and a dance today. You know, I mentioned Jeremy Grant earlier. I'm going to guess Grant will be higher owned than Collins, just because of like the game log watching alone. But this Atlanta-Portland team has every opportunity to blow up. We've seen Atlanta in a lot of blowouts in both directions recently, which means his price is down a little bit. And if you just look at the points he's averaging per game, I get it why you won't want to end up here. However, with no Nurkic, I think you can eat in the paint today. And even though it's Clint Capella that plays down more in the paint than Collins, who can kind of, oscillate back and forth between the perimeter and the post, I think you can get Collins at very low ownership today. He's got power forward eligibility, which helps a ton because you're just not going to have any spots or ability to play him at the center position today. And if this game's competitive, very much like the Kings-Blazers game the other day, this has got 130, 129 written all over it. If Trae Young can hit some threes, and before being awful last night, he did start to kind of look the part 2 games ago, and the Hawks play well tonight, this game's got every opportunity to be 119 to 128, 131 to 127 or some, astronomically high score like that. So I like the potential upside to John Collins, but I would place him in the long shot category because solely based on his record and play this year, he's probably too expensive at 7,100. This is a guy we've seen darn near 9K in other seasons, but Atlanta's a deeper team this year. Capella's been eating into his rebounding total quite a bit, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why he falls into the long shot category for me today. So that's what I got, guys. Time for me to take a breath. Time for me to go get that block of cheese out and start chewing on it and getting ready for the Packers to play this afternoon. Best of luck to anybody's football team today that's playing, unless you're a Rams fan. Clear then, I don't wish you the best of luck. But let's get after our DFS scores today. Best luck on NFL and NBA. And I will see you guys in the real near future. Click that thumbs up button, though, so we can give away some free stuff.